Good morning. For the record, my name is Mike Beadle, B-E-A-D-L-E. I'm the fire chief for the city of Palm Coast. We'd like to bring everybody up to speed on the events of last night here in the city. We'll start off at about 6:40 last night. The Starlight Parade in the city of Palm Coast was going on. So you can imagine we had our citizens and normal parade groups out. We got word from the National Weather Office out of Jacksonville that there was a tornado warning issued for Flagler County, specifically in the city of Palm Coast. We immediately called the parade off and started to evacuate our town center area when at 6:56 we got the official tornado warning. At 6:58 a code red was issued through our county emergency management division. They had gotten the warning as well, and that notifies all our residents that we had the severe weather headed our way. At 7 p.m. we received our first call of wind damage in the Brittany Lane, Bridgehaven area, which is in the Indian Trails neighborhood here in the city of Palm Coast. Our house count as of last night before sunrise was 3 to 5 homes with extensive damage, unlivable. At least 15 homes with moderate damage, and then we have 40 to 50 homes that we know of light damage. We have crews on the street as we speak. They hit the road at about 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning to do a complete assessment of the damage. Well, those numbers will be given out later on. Currently, we have 51 houses that we know are without power. Last night at about 11 o'clock, there was over 2,200 hours. We had killed the entire grid within the damaged area. We're very pleased to announce that we have no injuries from civilians or emergency personnel that we know of. Crews worked until 2:30 this morning when, as it would be, we received yet another tornado warning here in the city. So we took our crews back off the street. At daybreak, crews again, as I said, hit the street, and that included our Public Works Department, all our utility people. As of this time, we have no utility issues concerning water or sewer here within the city. As we went through the incident last night, we were working with Flagler County Emergency Management, who's in contact with the state of Florida's Emergency Management, Flagler County Sheriff's Office, the American Red Cross. We'd like to note that the American Red Cross will be set up here in city offices at 160 Cypress Point Parkway. For any residents that need extra assistance, they can be directed here again to city offices. Last night we realized that media wanted to get into the affected area because of the safety issue. Trees down, power lines down. We decided to secure the area with the assistance of the Flagler County Sheriff's Office and kept everybody out of that area until we could get a handle on it this morning. FP&O crews arrived right early in the incident and have been out in the field all night working to get power restored the best they can. Again, there are 51 houses that we know of are without power. Today, we have assessment crews in the fields already. They were going door to door, every neighborhood, checking with our residents to see what needs and what wants that they have out there. We're also advised this morning that reports indicated that these storms started in the Espanola area of Flagler County, not just the city of Palm Coast. So crews are starting to go back or go west, if you will, to find out where these storms actually began as they rolled into the city. And we just got a report not too long ago that possibly Deltona and the DeLand area possibly suffered some damage too. We'd first like to tell our residents that FP&O crews will be in the streets, and they are working diligently to get the power up. If there is an injury, if you need assistance, call 911 immediately. There is no need to report the damage. We have crews, and again, we'll be going door to door to ensure that we get all the damage collected. The teams, and they will be wearing Palm Coast City official clothing, if you will, to identify that they are working with the city. Anybody needing shelter, again, can come right here to 160 Cypress Point Parkway with the Red Cross. It's imperative that you contact your insurance company, individual insurance agents, and if you have the ability to take photographs, even off your iPhone, please take photographs of any damage on your property and your house before you begin that cleanup process. It's imperative that you have documentation for your insurance company. We're going to need it as well as we go through our recovery process in the city. Watch out for down power lines and any debris. Don't assume the power lines are either cable lines or that the power's still been turned off. Do not touch them and stay away from them. At this time, I'd like to introduce the mayor of the city of Palm Coast, John Netz, for some comments. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. The city manager, the chief, and I did a drive-through this morning to evaluate the extent of the damage. As you probably have seen in other incidents like this, you'll have a house almost totally destroyed, next door a house that's untouched. I want to stress how grateful we are to all the city staff that worked through the entire night. Our road department, public works department, our building department, our fire department, and the extraordinary cooperation we got from Flagler County Emergency Management and the Sheriff's Office. Working together, we were able to contain what could have been a much, much worse situation. I want to stress what the chief said. I know there's a tendency to want to get out and look around and see what's going on, but the FP&L trucks are on the street. City workers are on the streets now, and as people start to clean up after this weather incident, you'll do them a big favor if you just stay home and stay out of the areas that were involved. We'll be taking questions later, but if you have issues, if you have concerns, if you have problems, you can call 911 for emergency, or if you need help, you need guidance, what do I do now, how do I proceed? The city's main office number, 386-986-3700, is manned and operating now. We can give you advice. Our building department will be open if you need help with how do I get that tree off my roof, how do I get the appropriate permit, begin making repairs. City stands ready to provide that. So this time I'd like to introduce Under Sheriff Rick Staley for his comments. Thank you.
Sheriff.
Good morning. Last night we had about 30 deputy sheriffs in the field, and we had checkpoints to ensure that only authorized people were in the hardest hit areas. We have lifted those checkpoints, but we have dedicated patrols remaining in there to make sure that there's no issues. There were no arrests last night as a result, so we appreciate that from our community, staying home and staying out of the area. Like the mayor said, we would like you to continue to do that. Let the residents start cleaning up their community and their homes without a lot of unnecessary people in the community. Our communications center last night answered about 600 phone calls, which is about triple our normal amount on an overnight shift. And we answered 300 calls, which again is about 3 times as many calls as we normally handle. So the men and women of the Sheriff's Office did a great job, but it was really a great partnership between all the public safety, from fire to emergency management and the city crews. They've been out there cleaning up the roads so repair trucks and so forth can get in. So it was a great job by a whole team effort. So thank you.
Field any questions if anybody has any. I know that everybody wants to get out and get the cameras out in the field. We'll talk to you after the news conference and get you into those areas. Again, we just respect the privacy of some of the residents that might be around, and we know you've been out there and done this before, but we'll get you outside and we'll get you in some of those safer areas so you can get some new shots.
What's some of the worst damage you saw then?
Some of the worst damage, roofs gone off of houses. We had a gentleman that actually was in his house when the roof came off. Our crews found him in his front yard. I believe they checked him out. He was fine, shaken up, as you can imagine. A lot of screen enclosures, or the cages that we call them, around the pools. Once we're in the backyards, or now in the front yards, or in your neighbor's next door yard, those kinds of issues. A lot of trees down. It's interesting, as we drove through, it lends to why we get building permits and why you have inspections and why you garage doors on the front. The wind actually, we believe, was going west to east. House is facing that the house is facing the east side, that front of the house. Garage doors sucked in. So I mean, we can't say enough about the total program or project that cities, not only Palm Coast, but all of us do, from building permits and why we do what we do and why we have people go out and inspect these kind of things. You can see it out there. Trees that are just sheared at the top that look like toothpicks that have been around for quite some time. So it's typical high wind damage that we're experiencing out there. You know, the neat thing about the city of Palm Coast is our citizens will bounce back from this. We've been through fires, we've been through train wrecks, we've been through airplanes falling out of the sky. Now we've had a tornado touchdown. We believe this is the first one in the history of the city. They'll bounce back, and the citizens will help each other and work together and put it back together. We have no doubt.
Have you spoken to the National Weather Service yet? Are they coming out as well?
They're on the field. They've been in the field. Actually, they were here last night, overnight, and they're putting their project together. No, we're working with St. Johns County to do a fly of the area, emergency management, and myself to get a taste of it. We really don't have a length description, how far. We know where we got calls and where we stopped getting calls. As we said, we found out it could have started further west within our county, and actually other places in Volusia. So I believe this is going to be a couple-day event until the National Weather Service gets their hands wrapped around it and can tell us exactly all the details, and that's what they do. So we're letting the professionals handle that part.
Do they
Have
see
they
it with
give
a
you any
tornado though? Or?
We haven't gotten confirmation that that's their job. As soon as we get that confirmation from those of us on the field, we've seen microbursts and those kinds of things. Doesn't look like that, but I'm not a meteorologist, so I don't. I'm not going to claim that's exactly what it was. I'm confident it was, but we'll let them tell us that it was. I'm sorry.
Peter, I had a two-part question. First question is, what was the most difficult thing that your men and other officials had to go through when first getting to the scene, the immediate aftermath of this storm or tornado? And secondly, as your years as chief, how would you describe what you've seen going on out into those neighborhoods?
Well, the first issue was our concern was the parade. Believe it or not, we had many people down in our town center area, young families. We had the high school bands and the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. Our first concern was getting them into shelter, and we actually sheltered some of those groups within the town center area and a couple of those buildings with city staff. That worked out real well. Coming up into the area, it's like any other disaster. Our first thing was to ensure that our people were safe before we sent them in, and we needed to find out what residents were maybe stuck in their houses and so forth and so on. Got on the phone with FP&L, killed the power real quick, so that was a big plus. And as I said, it was just a teamwork and putting it all together. You know, we train, we do tabletop exercises. A lot of the media sits there and watches some of this stuff with us. Unfortunately, we had to put those trainings to use tonight. My many years of being here, my wife told me about 3 o'clock this morning, I guess it's time to retire. This was the only event that I didn't have to oversee in my 36-year career. And so now I've got a tornado. Not that I'm proud of it, but we've had pretty much everything else. So I guess she's pushing me to retire, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Anybody else? Any other questions we can or have anybody behind us?
What's next?
What's next? What's next is what's going on right now. We're out in the field. We're meeting with our residents. We're talking to them. We're sending them or getting them those links and telling them they need to contact the insurance companies and those things. Again, I can't stress enough that documentation for the residents and the homeowners. We need to document their damage on their property. Cell phones, the #1 picture-taking device in the world right now is your cell phone. We all have them. I'll show you mine. I've got pictures from some things yesterday. Okay, take pictures. You're going to need them for your insurance company. Next thing is you're going to start having people coming in and wanting to help you clean up your property. Get with the city officials, get with the building department and our code department, and ensure that these people are licensed and insured to work in the city. With the help of the sheriff's office, we're going to have them out there and make sure that we don't have people just showing up from South Carolina wanting to do work here in the city of Palm Coast. We understand everybody thinks that they're #1 and their priority, and we understand that. Our priority is to get things back up and running and ensure safe operation within the streets, but we just don't want anybody coming into the city and doing work. So we need to ensure that they're properly insured, they're licensed through our building department and our code. If you have questions, again, 386-986-3700 is the main number, 386-986-3700. Bear with us. I'm sure we're going to be inundated with phone calls, but we will get somebody to you or get your questions answered or head you in that right direction. But we really want to stress, make sure you know who you're dealing with and not just anybody. The other thing is please don't, if you're not able to start handling some of the tasks, climbing on roofs, covering roofs, call the professionals, and again, city staff will be in the street as long as we need to be. Contact one of them, they'll send you in the right direction on who to contact and how to get your personal area, your homes taken care of.
Jumping off of that, what are some things that people who might just be getting up or just seeing it in the light, what are some of the things around their home and their property that they might need to be looking out for?
The down power lines, tree limbs, those kinds of things. They're gonna know something happened last night, and if they slept through it, I guess God bless them, because it was quite the evening. And again, it started again at 2:30 this morning when we thought round 2 was going to take place. So caution, 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 and don't assume that those lines are dead. Don't assume they're cable lines. Don't assume anything. Think that everything's a live wire, that tree could fall over, those kinds of things, and don't try to mess with it yourself. And we'll work with you and try to get as much help out there as we can.
How long will these NWS teams and how long do you think this cleanup is going to take? Would you say officials will be around for the next coming days, a week?
We'll be around until we don't need to be around anymore. The city's not going anywhere. You can always call the city. We'll get those resources to you. Talking with our public works director this morning, all the streets are clear to that. We can get emergency traffic in there. We passed 14, 15 FP&L trucks while we're out, so they're still out. They're isolating some of these areas and trying to get the power restored as they can. Again, 50 some houses without the power right now, so we're working real good to get the power up, and we understand. It was interesting at 2 o'clock yesterday morning, cable companies were out trying to figure out what they needed to get, and you know, the days have come where people rely on cable and your outlets to get that news and find out what's going on and what's happening, so we appreciate everything you're doing and getting our word out for us. But we'll be here as long as it takes. I think the cleanup will take weeks. We need to go through and check the extent of the damage and whether we go into a declaration and try to get federal assistance. We don't know. It's too early in the game, but that's by all means, that's what we do. That's why emergency management's standing behind us. That's what they help us do. So team effort, we're all going to work together, figure out what that next step is, but the safety of our citizens and getting the city back on that right track is where we're headed today.
Could you repeat some of the most affected streets in Palm Coast?
Yeah, the affected streets are, it began on Brittany, Bridgehaven, crossed over Belterre on the north end of the city into the Barrington, Baring, Banbury neighborhoods. We had a little bit of damage in the F section, which means either it rolled across Interstate I-95 or it went back up and came back down on Fulton Lane, I believe it was. We had major trees down. Farriston Lane, we had some houses, and then it actually went into the canal section, which is in the northeast corner of the city. Some screen enclosures, we understand, some power lines down, not a lot of damage up there. So 3 affected, the B's, the F's, and the C's for those watching and that live here in the city. Again, and I'm going to stress again, if you could put this out, please don't go out and just want to go look. We had people on bicycles at 1 o'clock yesterday morning just gawking. We understand, watch it. They're all watching you, all watch us. We'll get you out there, let you take some of those pictures that they want to see. We understand that that's out there and everybody wants to see and wants to help. You can help us by staying in your own neighborhood and helping your neighbor out and not going out and looking at the affected areas.
Chief, you
Thanks,
said
Ron.
that you thought you were going to have round 2 at like 2 o'clock this morning. What
Yeah,
exactly was happening?
about 2:30. I'll be honest, my wife woke me up and said, "Did you just hear that?" And of course, the radios were going off that there was yet another tornado warning issued for Flagler County. I began listening to the emergency management of the county, who was giving us like every minute-by-minute blow of what was being. Interestingly enough, it wasn't on TV, but one channel out of Jacksonville had a banner that there was possibly some bad weather coming. And then that same radio or TV station actually showed the radar so we could see what was going on. And it was moving about 45 to 50 miles an hour, so it rolled through very quick. We don't believe we had any additional damage, and we don't know of anything touching down because of that. But yeah, we were kind of fearful round 2 was happening. You know, it's bad enough. You see it once, and we've seen it on TV time and time again. Round 1's bad enough, and then you get hit with round 2. So I think we averted it round 2 last night, and here we are this morning.
Is it kind of unusual that it hit three different times in that one?
Not being a meteorologist, but living here for many years, I don't think anything's unusual anymore. I've got a brother in upstate New York, just had 18 inches of snow. We had a tornado touchdown in Florida. And I'm sure between Florida and upstate New York, we had every weather system known. So, no, I chose to go into fire service, not meteorology.
This might be a question for EOC, but Espanola, was there any damage? I know you're saying the storm line started from there.
Let me introduce Kevin Guthrie. He's the Emergency Management Chief Director for the County of Flagler County. I guess I'd like to publicly welcome Kevin to the rodeo, as they say. He's been with us about a month and a half, and he was probably on scene, standing next to me within about 45 minutes of the initial call. We want to thank them and for what he's done. It's been a great asset through the night. And I'll put Kevin on the spot. Kevin Guthrie.
Thank you, Chief. Specifically to answer the question, we got information this morning from Chris and Al Sandrick out of National Weather Service Jacksonville. They are the ones that are here this morning. They got here about 7 a.m. this morning. I'll get you Chris's last name here in just a second. But he is the meteorologist in charge of Jacksonville National Weather Service. They indicated to me that they reviewed the video or the archives of the Doppler radar from last night, and they went out and saw that there was an echo there that showed them that there was a potential rotation and touchdown in the Espanola area. We did, under Sheriff Staley briefed me this morning that we did get a call that there was some heavy winds and things like that out in that area, but that's where they're starting at. So again, just the geography of Flagler County is going to make it a little bit difficult for them to get from Espanola back into the north portion of the city of the Palm Coast, and then continue moving through the other affected areas. So to specifically answer that question that was asked earlier about how long it's going to take them to get that done, they're going to be here probably the majority of the morning. They told me that they will be posting their findings on their website, and I'm sure that Al and Chris will probably do some type of media release to you folks as well in the coming days. But they are currently in Espanola right now. Once they do their assessments out in that area, they will be then moving into the, as we refer to it, the B section, and then they'll move on through into the F and the C section. So hope that answers your question. Thank you.
And I have one last request or suggestion for our residents. We are going to have the Public Works trucks out helping with the cleanup. We're going to bring our solid waste contractor in to help with the cleanup. But when it comes to issues of home repair, whether it be a screen enclosure or a roof or shingles or something like that, if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, please call the city. We will have staff standing by to help you, assist you, point you in the right direction. The chief made a very, very important point. Be sure that any contractor that you hire is licensed and properly insured. We can help you ascertain that if you just call us. Thank you. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other questions?
Road closures just localized to the neighborhood streets that are affected right now?
As of before the news conference, no, we have everything open. We are again stressing we just want those living in those areas to be able to get in and run.
Chief, the sheriff.
Excuse me, Sheriff Jim Manfrey, Flagler County. I'm sorry, Sheriff. Go ahead.
Chief. Just to let the residents know, the regular arterial roads are open, so we are open for business today. The roads that are affected in these particular neighborhoods will be patrolled heavily by our deputies. So we will be trying to limit the amount of traffic into these areas so the professionals can clean up. So I'm not just asking you, we're now telling you, please stay out of these areas because the deputies will be checking if you have business in these particular areas. I understand the curiosity, as other speakers have mentioned, but this is not the time to be curious about what your neighbors are going through. It's a time to pray for them and hope we as a community can get them through this, this particular disaster.
You're not saying the area is close to the media, are you?
It's not close to the media. Again, we will limit if you have purposes like the media. In fact, we encourage the media to go through because we hope that satisfies people's curiosity about the extent of the damage. We will allow you in, and but any other curiosity seekers, we will limit their access to these areas.
Thank you, Sheriff. To the news media and you standing here, there are deputies up in the areas. I know you're going to be coming up. Again, I just would throw out that caution from myself as you know, these people have been through a lot. Be careful of anything that's out there. Be careful of downed trees. Be careful of any power lines. They could be hot. The affected area that you're probably going to want to go up to is off of Barrington, which is North Belterre. I'm sure those of you that have been here through the night with us got the maps out. We can get you up into those areas. Barrington, you'll see it once you start going up there. The Bridgehaven areas where we got the original calls is going to be the first street on your left as you head north on Belterre. You'll see that damage right off the road. You'll know when you're in the damaged area, just by the debris in the road and so forth and so on. We ask you to be safe. We thank you for coming out and getting our message out to our citizens. And as I like to say to everybody, just be safe out there, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, basically this morning we started on the western side of the county where there was limited tree damage as you go. But just before you get to the western side of 95, which is the area that we are right now, which received the brunt of the storm damage, we've seen winds based on damage using the enhanced Vegeta scale between 88 and 106 miles an hour, which rates it at a high-end EF1 scale. And so what we do is we go back to the office, we look back at the pictures, we have a program that we're using out here in the field. We connect the dots, bring it back to the office, assess the damage, the integrity of the structures, and so on, and based on that we get the wind speed. And early and preliminary indications show that we have winds of really 88 to 106 miles an hour, and along the periphery are the weaker winds, but basically the width of the tornado itself is between 25 and 75 yards. In this particular neighborhood, it's about 75 yards or maybe a little bit greater in width. The length is yet to be determined because we saw the mesocyclone going all the way to the ocean, basically. The storms basically started last night from the Nature Coast to Southwest Coast and moved inland, and what happened was we had two merging thunderstorms come together that produced an environment that was just conducive for tornado in a local area such as this. And it was unfortunate that Palm Coast was in those favorable environmental conditions for that to occur.
I know that one of your guys was possibly in the air. I don't know if it was you. Can you just describe what they saw from the air?
None of our guys are in the air at this particular time, so I can't speak to that right now.
Scott, tell us about the fact that did these cyclones or did they split up, or was it one big one?
It was basically one rotation that we caught that we found in midair, or that was in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And what happens is oftentimes it descends down into the surface of the earth where we live, and sometimes they spin up and come back down, these rotations in the atmosphere. And we saw it about 5 kilometers to the southwest of here, and then it occurred right here, and we're still yet to assess the damage that occurred downstream at this particular time.
The Deltona area, is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm just talking about further down into the Palm Coast towards the shore.
When you look at this damage, are you surprised that no people were actually hurt?
Just looking at the preliminary assessment, the time of day, you got to keep in count the time of day as well. It was a nocturnal storm. The sun went down. Most people are in homes, or maybe they're getting dinner at a restaurant or something like that. I am surprised that there's no, at least not one or two in vehicles where people may be coming home from a dinner or something like that. We're just blessed and fortunate that nobody was hurt in this particular case, but I think for the most part, it's a weekend night. It's dark. I think most people are at home, so we're quite fortunate. Based on the wind speeds, it's nothing that causes a huge amount of internal damage in a home. It would take much greater wind speeds to do that. So am I surprised that somebody got hurt? I am a little bit surprised in a vehicle that nobody got hurt, and we're blessed that didn't happen. But usually in homes that doesn't, in these type of structures, that doesn't occur.
Okay.
Thank you.